Thanks for joining us on this week's pod.
I'm Chunk.
And I am the Chippy. And today we're going to be talking all things boating. And that stands for break out another $1,000. If you're not sure what that actually means. 10 different things to prepare your boat before you go out on a fishing trip. I thought we would break it up into 10 different segments. So we've got a bit of an idea about all the different things that you do need to worry about when you have a boat. You head out into the great blue yonder to go fishing and make sure that you're safe. And I think number one is worrying about what your boat engine's like if you've got a boat. The biggest thing about a boat engine is whether you've done all the work on it before you actually head out. Very, very important. We won't talk a lot about that today because we have a special guest on the next episode who will be talking all things boat engines and trailers. But today I would like to just discuss with you, Chunk, being a boat owner yourself and myself being a boat owner for many different boats over many, many years. There's always certain things that you have to worry about and things you leave behind. And
oh, yeah. It's pretty easy to get caught up the night before in rigging up the rods and making sure that you've got every rod and every lure and rig set up. But do you go out and just turn the motor over and make sure it's going to start? And
what sort of boat do you hack around in at the moment?
me and my old man have got a 1870 Swiftcraft. What?
Is that 1870s?
Yeah, 1970.
1970s.
1970, not that rickety. Swiftcraft.
Which is a glass boat?
Yep, fiberglass boat, 5.5 metres long with a 90 horsepower Yami on the end of it. So she's an old girl, but it's good in the ocean, pretty stable. It's good. Does everything we need to do and gets us out to 60 metres and we're happy.
Fantastic. And we have a glass boat as well, 7 metre Leisure Cat, which we've done a lot of work on in the last 3 years. We inherited it and they're I can't say much about them. I love it. I've been in tinnies and we've had 23-foot alleys back in the day and for the stability and everything of this boat. I think it's a fantastic boat, especially for us old fellas who don't want to rock around too much on the boat and pierce through the waves because it's a bit heavier than the old alley. I love it. I think it's a great boat. But anyway, let's get back to the engines. We've got to make sure that they're serviced and also when you head out, having your boat serviced is the main thing. Majority of people leave it to the last minute just before, we get to spring and go, whoop, hang on. How's the boat? We better turn it over and see what's going on. But we have plenty of time during the year and the winter and that to get our boat serviced. What do you guys do with your boat, Chunk?
Yeah, well, Dad's very mechanically and handy with motors and cars and all that sort of stuff. So we're actually doing a fair bit of maintenance on our trailer at the moment. Where he's ripped the rails out and he's pressing up some steel and replacing some rollers and just getting it ready for Easter, I suppose.
Be hitting the water?
Be hitting the water. That'd be good.
And she works well, the motor. What is it?
Yami.
Yami, yeah, they're good motors, Yamis. And also we've got to make sure that we, sort the steering out and make sure there's oil in it, depending on what sort of boat you've got and what sort of motor you got. And make sure that, you don't have any issues with the steering, which we've had in the past in one of our boats. We got out there one day and we couldn't budge.
Yeah, your cables can get seized up pretty easily.
Yeah. So you got to make sure that's all working well as well.
Make sure that little oil reservoir's topped up.
Yep. And before you actually even head out on the water, one of the biggest things is if you're fishing, you got to make sure you've got your fishing license, which you need these days to catfish from boats. Make sure your insurance is right on your boat because you never know what might happen. As we found out from a previous podcast where you might blow the cabin off the top of your boat. So having insurance is pretty good.
Pretty handy thing.
And making sure that your rego and everything's up to date so you don't get a visit from the Dot boys.
Yeah.
And they're out and about. So that's pretty important.
They're not someone you want to upset.
Yeah, number one, boat engines. I think we've covered most of that and someone else is going to cover a lot more of that in our next episode for us.
Yep.
Someone who knows all about it.
Bit more than us.
Number two I've put on the list, and these are in no particular order of importance, electrics on your boats. A lot more people these days are going to solar and things like that, especially with the bigger boats, which actually we've got on top of our boat now. We have a solar blanket.
Yeah, you got a great little setup with what you got going on.
Yeah, all our electronics go through third battery which isn't connected up. Well, it is connected up to the main batteries just so that we can charge it if we ever need to. It's all run by, charging off the solar panel.
What do you run off your third?
Well, we actually have a fridge, all the electrics. So we've got the GPS sounder, all the gear up the front. We just didn't want to have issues with our two main batteries off the motors. And that's worked out really well for us. Make sure you trickle charge your batteries when you're not using them for a long time, and because then you don't have the issue of having no charge in your batteries at all when you want to take your boat out 6 months down the track.
Yeah.
That's pretty important. So I thought number 2, electrics, was quite important. Make sure all your sounder GPS is all working, and people who've got, bigger boats with radars and things like that. If you haven't got charge on your boat, you're not going to be able to use much on it, unfortunately.
No, and you want to make sure that's all your work's done professionally too with electrics. That's one thing you just don't want to take shortcuts on. You don't want to be out there and you end up with some sort of a fire, which I have seen happen.
Yes, absolutely. All sorts of things can happen with boats, like it can with cars and everything. But
yeah,
a lot of people don't take a lot of care with their boats, and they don't realise that. It's very important because when you're taking people out on your boat, you're responsible for them. So you have to make sure that everything's in good working order. Number 3, before you get to the ramp, put your boat in. I just want to talk about the boat itself. Included in that, fuel, oil, bungs. Bungs is a big thing because most boats have bungs.
Yep.
And I can remember many a time where we've got out in the water and you don't realise it when you're heading out that your bungs aren't in because you're shooting along. But as soon as you stop, the boat starts filling up and you go, right, where are the bungs?
Yeah.
And you realise you don't have any in. You've got to take off again, find them, try and lean over the back, put them in.
Yep.
And if you don't have them with you, you're heading back to the ramp, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got a full set of bungs in our boat, and it's something we just keep up the front, one of the gunnels, in a plastic bag. And if for whatever reason we ever forget them, it's just you can just lean over the back, put them in, and you got the bilge pump to get rid of any excess water. And
yep,
I do think we've had to do that once before. We beach launch a lot of the places we go, and it's good. It's good to we're all humans and make mistakes, and it's good to have a backup when you need it.
Yep. Like you mentioned a minute ago, for your boat, you need people who do have bilges. We've even got one on our little 4.6 metre, which has been handy because you get the odd wave over that.
Yeah.
And instead of getting the old, 10-litre bucket, you can turn the bilge on and get a bit of water out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Anchor rope is another thing. Anchor, I think it's 3 times your depth that you're going to go fishing in of rope, and chain, which keeps it on the bottom, helps out big time.
Yeah.
Having a tool kit on the boat, I think, is very, very important.
Yeah, basic tool.
As long as you know your boat and what you've got on your boat, what sort of screws and everything on there, split pins if you need them, things like that. Aluminium foil's another good thing to have on your boat. Electric tape, cable ties, a good bucket, headlight, and hose clamps are very handy for people for when their fuel lines and things like that, if you have issues with them.
Yeah.
And the aluminium foil chunk, if you didn't know, is very handy to replace a fuse or put around a fuse if you blow a fuse.
It is.
They're all little hacks that you could have on your boat just to make sure that your toolkit's got a few things to get you out of trouble.
Yeah.
And obviously your pliers and screwdrivers. You don't need a big kit, but just something that can, help you out, get back to shore.
Yeah, I suppose you mentioned the fuel lines there. That's something. All the boats that have got the jerry can with the little primer. That's something you want to keep an eye on and make sure your lines aren't perished.
Yep. And the thing about the rope and the rope chain and an anchor is that if you do get in trouble out there and you're not going anywhere, you need to anchor up, and so you don't go into rocks or head into places where you don't want to be, shallow water and that. Very important to be able to secure the boat so you can get help. Number 4, I thought, is safety. Safety is obviously the main thing when you head out fishing or any sort of boating. And there are a number of safety bits and pieces that you do need to have on board. And they're very, very important because everyone's going out to have fun, and the last thing you want to be is stuck out there and not be able to get home. So number 1 is flares. I don't know how many bags of flares I've brought over the years because they always seem to go out date before you ever use one, but if you do use one, at least you've got one that's in date that you can use.
Yeah.
I have noticed there's some ACR rescue flares that you can buy now from a lot of the boating stores. They can be seen for up to like 6 kilometres away.
Oh, really?
I don't know if they're okay to use instead of flares, but they are a good flashing light that's that people use these days. Very, very handy device. E-perps, probably the most important thing you can take with you because, if your boat's sinking or any sort of thing happens, you can just set that off and there will be, it doesn't matter where you are about being out of signal or anything like that with mobile phones. You don't have to worry. An E-perp will go straight to Canberra, I think, and then get help on the way. I think I have the website where I do register. Most of them are all registered and they can contact next of kin if there's issues.
Yeah. You can also get those little portable PLBs, I think they're called.
Yep.
So they're a good handy device,
And you can strap them on yourself as well. That's right.
Yeah, if you're going, which not specifically for boat fishing, but if you're going rock fishing or just somewhere, a bit.
Yeah, you can use them on land and sea.
Yeah.
Lots of people use them for
anywhere.
running and things like that.
They're a good little device and probably half the price, I think.
Yep. Life jackets.
Yeah.
PDFs.
Yeah.
Which we've got a number of. They're very, very good. I wear one all the time now.
Yeah, and you can get some great ones nowadays.
I'm not the swimmer that I used to be.
Yeah.
So
I reckon they're a great thing, like they're not the big chunky yellow things. Throw them on kids and leave them on them all day. And like you say, anyone who's not that comfortable swimming, just throw them under your T-shirt. And
what about 1K? I don't think I'd be able to do 10, but I don't know if I'd be able to do 1K
well,
out there these days.
Depends what your swimming capabilities are,
That's right. And one of the other most important things is a radio because, not only for emergency, also just boat to boat. There could be someone close by that you can contact and get out of trouble pretty easily if you've got issues. Obviously, you want to plan your trip and then be able to let Sea Rescue or your family know, but it's better to log on and log off in the mornings.
Absolutely.
And let Sea Rescue know that, how many people you got on board, how many litres of fuel, which is a really good reminder, actually, if you can let them know how much fuel you've got, because it makes you remember that you do have fuel on board.
Yeah.
When you're heading out, when you're coming back in to log off again, if you're one of those people that don't do that, the minimum amount you can do is let your family know when you're due back.
Yeah, I think if you're doing any ocean fishing, I'm all for it. You don't know what's going to happen.
Silly if you don't. If you're going to plan everything else and you're going to get your boat ready and you're going to get everything else, it's a little tiny thing to do.
Yeah.
For a very safety reason.
Yeah, just
you'd be mad not to.
A lot of those people are volunteers.
And that's right. Another good thing if you're going out and you don't have phone reception is a sat phone. I've got a very small sat phone by Garmin, which I use for driving. You need to plan every month, but you can, just have it this month or can it for 3 months and put the plan back on about $20 a month. And that's a really good device. If everything else fails, you can always press the button on that.
Yeah.
It's only an SMS one. It's not actually a one that you can make a call on, but you can certainly let people know with a text, which is very handy. One of the other major, and then this is a bit of a safety issue too, but number 5's weather.
Yeah.
There's no real reason these days with technology and apps that you can't get the right weather and plan your trip. Work out where you're going to go fishing and make sure that you check out the weather apps before you're out of signal. Because once you're out there, if you can't get signal, a lot of the time
you're knackered.
Yeah. So you want to know, there's radars on weather apps. You can go to the Bureau of Meteorology. There's Windy. There's so many others now that I can't even remember them all.
No, just keep it simple for yourself. While you're at home the night before, just have a last look and.
Yeah, and you need to realise the size of your boat compared to the sea that you're going out in. The wind that you're going out in.
Yeah.
As we know, I've been boat fishing since I was about 17. That's 43 years in many different boats. Once you're out there, things change.
Oh, yeah.
And I went out once in Coburn Sound, and we were just heading out the back of Garden Island. And if anyone knows that area, it isn't that far. We didn't even get to Karnak Island on a beautiful morning.
Yeah.
There were 6 of us on board, 23-foot alley, and we're all safe and secure. It was about an hour into not even an hour into our trip. We were 3/4 of the way to Karnak Island from the boat ramp at Woodman Point, and a storm landed on top of us.
No.
And it was like we were in the open ocean. It was incredible. And back then, I didn't look at the weather forecast. I just worried about, the news the night before that said we were going to have a nice sunny day and, a little bit of wind, which wasn't going to bother that boat. We turned around and came back.
Yeah.
There is no way that we could have went out there fishing out the back of Karnak and just out the back of Garden Island. So I was amazed that day how much it changed in such a quick time.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure that you plot your fishing course, make sure you get the apps and make sure you know where you're going, because the weather is a major thing when you get out there.
Yeah, and there's no prizes for being a hero, like I've done lots of fishing with Dad, and learnt lots off him, and the amount of times we've been out and got not even 5Ks out there, I reckon, and we've just looked at each other and said, no, stuff this. Let's just go home and watch the footy.
Well, it's about being comfortable too, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to beat yourself up and be thinking all the time, what about this wave or what about that wave? And
keeping an eye on it all the time. Yeah,
you don't want to wreck your gear and, all that sort of stuff, like there's always next time.
And the old boy will be a bit stiff the next day too, trying to get around the house, like me. The pounding you take sometimes. It's all right coming home in getting a bit of a pounding on the way home, but not when you're heading out. That's the last thing you want.
No, it's just,
not good for your day.
No.
All right, we're heading down to the boat ramp. You can only do that if you've got a trailer under your boat. A lot of the time we don't worry about trailers too much. It's the last thing. The boat looks all good, but the trailer looks like, needs a good overhaul. You need to worry about lights. Bearings are a big thing.
Yeah.
Myself and my son have changed that many sets of bearings over the years, going up north, coming back. Had them at ridiculous temperatures as we're heading up to Coral Bay or up to Kalbarri to go fishing and that, and thought, we're going to make it. I think I was with you. We were heading up to
Monkey Mire
on our way to a wedding in Coral Bay a couple of years ago. And
45 outside at
the bearings were hot.
Oh, yeah, I'll never forget that.
Actually, one of them was boiling and the other one was okay.
Yeah.
And we thought, oh, no. We didn't want to change them.
That's one trip I'll never forget.
Yeah,
16 hours in a car with your wife and a 6-month-year-old, trailer on the back. And
that's right.
Yeah.
And it was hot, wasn't it?
We were thinking, you better stay together properly, bearing.
And it did. We actually got all the way up there. We checked it, and we were going to change it. We thought, it looks all good. It's stable. It's got plenty of grease. We put a bit more grease in, and we got all the way back down here. So it did well, but we were a bit worried about it.
We were. But
brakes, depending on what sort of brakes you got, make sure they're all working. And if you got breakaway brakes on bigger trailers, you need to make sure that's all good.
Yeah.
Hooking up properly. I've seen over the years a few people that hanging on chains because they haven't put the hook back on the ball of the car too well. So make sure you've done that, and make sure you've got a working winch. So, because once you get that boat in the water, if it's a big boat, you're not going to get it back on.
No.
We fortunately drive ours on, which is pretty handy. So, but a lot of people have just got to be able to do it with a small winch, so make sure that's all good and the rope on that's good.
Yeah, and you want to have a routine with your trailer set up, like I'm a firm believer, if you're the main driver of the vehicle, you're responsible for that trailer, whether it's your boat or not. You do everything right, and it doesn't matter whether someone else has linked it up. You cross your chains and you put your lights in, and if you've got your breakaway cable, if you've got electric brakes, you know how to do that properly, because there's lots of people that don't do it properly.
And you never get to use it until you have an accident.
That's right. And that's that one time you need it, and YouTube's a great thing, Just you look on there and you see how to do it, and there's great videos. And
yep, Make sure your trailer's good for the size of your boat. There's lots of different things going around these days for people who don't have trailers that'll take the size of the boat they're on and their car can't take them, because of GCMs and all GVMs. So just make sure that everything's legal, and because you need that for your insurance as well. So make sure everything's working well and registered, and you should be able to have a safe and happy trip.
Yeah.
Number 7, hydration.
Yes.
Being out in salt water. Well, that's if you're going in salt water, you might be able to go in a lake. Fresh water's not so bad, you can have a drink. But if you're going out in the big open ocean, make sure you're hydrated and make sure you take a few things with you.
Something we probably overlook a little bit.
Well, yes. People don't always take water with them. They take other sorts of drinks with them that aren't that great for hydration.
Or we're just too excited to go fishing and we're not worried about eating or drinking. We just want to spend the whole time fishing.
Well, that's why it's on our list, Chuck, because you need to remind yourself that these are very important things to take when you go out. So water, food and snacks. Always take some food and snacks with you because you do get hungry out there.
Yep.
I reckon it's about 10 o'clock in the morning where you got to have lunch when you head out at 5 o'clock in the morning. I reckon it's about then, after you've done your first few drops and you're trying to, you get a few fish in and that, by about 10 o'clock you need something to eat.
Yeah, that's fair.
We need ice. We've got a fridge on ours. Not everyone has a fridge, so you need to make sure you've got your ice, and so you can keep your food and water and that nice and cool. And quells are another thing. Even though it's not a hydration, it's something that I've seen a lot. That not only quells, I mean, there are other brands on the market, but I've never ever had much luck with the ginger ones. I need them to go out on any size boat in the ocean. I always get sick, and I always have 2 quells.
Do you have one both in the morning? Or?
Yep, I have one when I first get up.
Yep.
And I'll have one, and then usually, by the time you're at the ramp, it could be 30 minutes or an hour. I'll have my second one just before I get on the boat.
And that lasts you a whole day, does it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
I've never ever had one bit of illness when I've had quells on a boat.
Yeah.
They are fantastic, and we have had lots of, like my son's girlfriends, like friends of friends, come out on the boat, and they've never been on a boat before out in the ocean. Oh, no, I'll be right. And once you get out there and once you start getting seasick, you do not stop for the rest of the day.
Nah.
And it doesn't matter what you do. With my experience over that time, and I've done a lot of fishing out of Coral Bay on 50-foot boats, and I've done a lot of work on 20-foot boats, and I get sick on every single one of them.
Yeah.
And the only one I never got sick on was a P&O cruise.
Well, you wouldn't expect to, would you?
And that was a bit bigger, that boat. But anything that go fishing, once you stop and you get the roll of the ocean, it makes you crook. And you're actually sick until there's nothing left inside you. And it doesn't matter replacing it with one bit of water or anything. That sickness makes you get rid of everything in your stomach.
Yeah.
And it is the worst feeling. And you won't even fish. It's very, very difficult.
No, I've seen some pretty sorry-looking people, I'm fortunate I don't get it. But I remember the first time I did go out deep. I'd done a lot of inshore stuff when I was younger. We only did a 12-foot tinny, and the first time we went out on a charter boat, Dad said, "You're taking some quells," and I was like, "Oh, no, I'll be right." I was like, "Do you take them?" He's like, "No." He's like, "I think because, paying the money," and he's like, "You haven't won tonight and you haven't won in the morning, and that's it."
They do work.
Yeah, so it's, it's good. They do what they do. And
I actually went on the Orca boat, naturalist charters out of Bremer.
Yeah.
My brother was in a big hurry. We drove 2 hours or so to get there from here in Albany, and it was early in the morning, and I couldn't get quells, and I'd forgotten all about them the night before, and I thought, oh, no, she's a really big cat, double story, luxurious. I'll be right.
Yeah.
Crook all day.
Wow.
Absolutely crook all day.
On a boat of that size?
Yep, they had a beautiful lunch on board. It wasn't even that rough, but as soon as we stopped, I was feeding the orcas all day.
Making sure the tourists got their money.
Oh, yeah. That was actually one of the worst days I've been crook. And it costs you a lot of money to go out there, and you do not enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
And you just wish that you had taken 2 little pills and you'd be right for the whole day.
Yeah.
Number 8, It's I think it was a slogan put on TV many years ago: slip, slop, slap.
Yeah.
It's pretty harsh out in the ocean. I mean, I see fishermen coming here and guys who bring me fishing, they've been out on the ocean their whole life. And I don't know how much slip, slop and slapping they've been doing, but they're pretty rugged-looking characters. So.
Yeah, they're relatives of the old lobsters, they are.
That's right. Sunscreen, hat, sunnies, long shirts. There's plenty of fishing shirts out there these days. Everybody sells them.
Yeah.
We might even sell them one day, who knows?
Who knows?
You need a scarf. A lot of fishermen use scarves, and there's some real flash ones out there, and they're great for your neck and, around your ears and things like that. Boat shoes, sandals, they just so you don't get hooks on your feet, but they also stop sunburn on your feet as well.
Yeah.
It's very important, so you don't get sunstroke. Western Australia is a pretty harsh place to go fishing and to do anything actually, and even down here in the Southern Ocean. But you can get dehydrated very quickly, and you need to wear the right equipment.
The whole lot, you get it from above, and then you get the glare off the water, and it just saps you.
Yeah.
You think you're all right, and then it comes to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you just cactus.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I've taken plenty of shirts out there with a jumper on top and a jacket on top of that, and by the time 10 o'clock comes around, you're down to your shirt.
Yep.
And you're happy all day that you've got a long sleeve shirt on, because you don't want to have a jumper on the rest of the day. Just long sleeve shirts, and fishing shirts are fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
Number 9, it's probably the most important thing for fishermen: bait and tackle. If you don't take your bait and tackle, you might as well just go and have a pleasure cruise.
Yep. That's right.
How many times, Chunk, have you gotten to the boat ramp with no bait?
At least a handful.
And it's pretty hard at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to go and find some bait. You might get at the odd servo, but it won't be the bait that you wanted to get in the first place. And you've left it in the freezer at home, and half an hour to get home, half an hour back to the boat.
Oh, yeah, it's a pain in the bum.
We were sitting down in the harbour there probably about 3 months ago, and it was a beautiful day. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were putting the cat in, and these young guys rocked up, and 3 of them all looked at each other, and they had the boat in the water and everything, and one said to the other, "Where's the bait?" And they said, "Haven't you got the bait?" And the other guy says, "Didn't you get the bait?" So one was in the car, and he reckons it was about a 45-minute round trip. So there you go. They missed the best part of the morning to go fishing.
Yeah, that's right, and you're kicking yourself. And
You got to make sure you got your lures, your trace.
Yep.
Make sure you got your pliers and knives and bait boards and burley. The old fellas who like their burley buckets.
Yep.
Just make sure that you prepare the day before.
Rods, always a couple of spare rods is always handy. I'll tell you a funny story about rods. Me and my old man, we've got different rods but same reels, and we've got a backup rod we always take each, and they've got the same reels on them. Anyway, Dad's hooked up to this, I think it was a Queenie one day, Queen snapper. His handle off his fishing rod's just broken clean in half, halfway up. So we've ripped out the spare rod, and we've taken the handle off that, unthreaded that, and unthreaded the one off his rod and threaded it into his rod. And anyway, he's pulled up this bloody 70 or 80 centimetre Queenie at the end of it all. But it is good to have spare gear.
Yep. And what do you guys use mostly, Chunk? Do you use lures, or you're a bait people?
Mainly bait.
Yep.
Mainly bait. I'm never going to get the old man into lures.
No, he's getting on a bit. Yeah,
outdate. I use them every now and again.
Yeah, I don't mind. Brad's got me onto more lures because there's so many more on the market now.
Yeah, I love my lures inshore.
It's good to test them out to see if they actually work. And
yeah,
I think bait's just emergency a lot of the time too. You can try all the lures out and then go, oh, nothing's working. Quick, throw a bait on.
Yeah,
and you usually get something.
Yeah, I love those bottom eats. They're good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a lure, and you can slap a bit of bait on it too, and yeah, it's like a bit of a mix,
Yeah, Brad's been a bit of a popper man. He likes the old poppers.
Yep.
And he tries out everything.
Yeah.
The only thing is you need a pretty large credit account to buy every lure on the market now.
You do. Everything's bloody $20-$25 a pop, and
you actually need about 3 lure bags as well.
Yeah.
Boxes. Yeah. Not back in the old day, you just get a couple of hooks and a big sinker, chuck it on the bottom.
I think that's the attraction of bait, and I think that's why a lot of the older older folk won't go to the lure section.
Yeah. Number 10. Now, when you get to the boat ramp, there's a few things you got to worry about, and the most important thing is etiquette at the boat ramp, because when you're heading down at 5 o'clock on a magnificent day for fishing, so is everybody else.
So is every other man and his dog.
So, and the weather's good, the ramp's going to be busy, or the beach launching's going to be busy, so you need patience.
Yeah, just be patient. That's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah. Everyone's going out for a good time, so even if someone pushes in front of you, let them go, sit back. Doesn't mean they're going to get the first fish on the boat. Patience, stay in the car, foot on the brake. It's one of the biggest things. I've been watching a few things lately about people who they don't leave anyone in the car and the car's following the boat down the ramp.
I've seen a boat go down a ramp.
Have you?
Yeah.
What, without a trailer?
Yes.
There you go.
Good mate of mine. I won't mention his name. I'm sure he'll know if he listens one day. He got this 6.2 metre boat that he bought second hand, and
Glass or alley?
alley.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
So he was probably
bad.
lucky,
Yep.
Really, really nice boat, and go to the boat ramp and he's got it all undone, and it's his first time he's using it, still figuring out how to use it for the first time.
Yep.
Backs it down the ramp, he's unhooked everything and got to the top of the ramp and started to slow up, and anyway, this thing's that smooth on the runners, it's just
taken off,
skidded down the ramp. And me and the boys are just like, holy crap.
Can we get in first?
We're just like, Sauce, what are you doing? So anyway, we put it back on the trailer and started again.
Was there still a motor on the back?
Yeah, that didn't hurt the motor at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he have it up on an angle, did he, or it just didn't?
Yeah, the motor was up on the angle as far as it could go, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did have that written down because I put right down the bottom here, don't unhook until boat at water.
Did you?
And I've written that on the bottom here because that is a major thing. And with our big boat, when you get, I always make sure, it's 7.2 metres or something with two big donks on the back.
Oh, yeah.
You do not want to see that on the boat ramp.
No.
And we unhook one part of it and then you wait to the bottom to take the safety chain off, and then you can slowly lower it into the water because that can cost you a lot of money.
Yeah. On our boat, we've got this little release buckle. You can unrelease, the turn-buckle, the D-shackle.
Your safety and all that.
And then that alone holds the whole boat.
Yep.
And when you get to the bottom of the ramp, you just pull the ripcord.
Yep.
And away it goes. But,
Perfect.
It's so good for just going down the ramp,
Yep.
You don't have to worry about the whole winch contraption and everything.
That's right. And make sure your bungs are in at that time too.
Yeah, it's before that time.
Very important.
Well before that time, when you leave home.
Yeah. And for people who have got big boats and have got four-wheel drives, the best way to get them out is low gear, four-wheel drive.
Yeah, put them in low range.
Yeah, and just let it crawl out. I get stuck when I'm in my son's car because it's got this park assist thing now, which we didn't have in the old days, and you have to, put one arm on the handbrake and sort of get your clutch and that all aligned so that you can get out of the water. But these days with this, I suppose it's called a park assist or whatever it is, for going up a hill, you don't have to do any of that now. You just put your foot down and the car will stay there once you've taken your handbrake off. So it's a lot easier these days. But make sure you got it in low 4. Certainly helps, doesn't it?
Big difference.
You need that.
Saves your clutch.
You need that and you need that traction on the boat ramp, some of the slippery ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. And that's about it for us. If anyone knows of anything else that we've missed, you can let us know. Boat still does stand for break out another $1,000. So if you get through all that list that we've talked about today, you would have spent a few $1,000s, but it's all for the fun. And it's like buying a big V8 car and you're worried about the fuel bill. If you buy a boat, don't worry about the bill.
That's right.
Go out, have some fun, you'll catch some fish and have a great time.
Yeah.
Safety is 3 main things you got to worry about.
Always look after your passengers, They're your biggest part, You don't want them coming back hurt.
Yep, and we just mentioned about boat engines and servicing and on future podcasts, we will be having Tom Pelfrey on to talk about boats and trailer maintenance. So listen to the next pod after this one and you'll be able to hear what Tom's got to say. Right, Chunk, when it comes to eating fish...
They're good. Good chewing.
Well, one of my favourite fish is pink snapper, and I know you catch a few down here and on the southern coast. So I won't give away your secrets because your old man will probably clout me. But,
Mate, we've got no secrets on pink snapper, I can tell you.
Well, I'm sure you do go to your favourite spots all the time, but tell us a good way to cook a good pink snapper. And it's not going to be by the fillet, whole fish.
Whole fish?
Yeah, it's one of my favourites, and I'm sure you've got a special way of doing it.
Yeah, look, I think it's pretty similar. You want a 50 centimetre one, something around that?
Exactly.
Something around that?
Around 50, yeah. Okay.
Cut its head off to make it 50. No,
it's obviously legal.
Yeah. It's got to be legal. No, you cut the head off, you gut it, take all the scales off, and you fill all the insides with tomatoes, onions. Red onions are better.
Red onions, yep.
Cherry tomatoes are the go. Cut some big slits, cross slits.
Any wine?
Yep.
Bit of red wine?
Big cross slits,
White
both
wine?
Sides of the flesh.
Yep.
Mix up a bit of
That's called scouring, I think.
Scouring it, yep.
Scoring.
Scoring.
Yep. Bit of that.
Make a bit of a paste up.
Any garlic or anything in the skin?
Yep, make your paste up. Bit of garlic, bit of salt and pepper.
Oh.
Couple of spices. Put your red wine in that. Mush it in with your hands.
Oh.
You're only feeding your family, so no gloves.
That's what I like doing with dewy wings too, you know.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
And then wrap it all in aluminium foil. Put in the oven.
About 200.
Yep. Half an hour.
Rip it out and it's like marshmallow.
Yep. Just give everyone a fork and that's it. You're done.
Yep. And all you got to do is pull one bone out most of the time.
Yep. Eat one half. Rip the whole from the tail up. And then you get the other half.
Oh.
It's so good.
When we've done that in the past, I've thought I was in heaven.
Yeah.
It is one of the best things you can eat, seafood-wise.
Oh.
You can't get that in a restaurant. You got to do it at home.
I know. And if you're out camping, another way to do it.
Well, it could get a bit sandy if you're out camping. I've had the odd bit of fish with a bit of sand on it. You don't have the same washing facilities.
No, you don't. But to get the same experience, you just dig a hole, you know.
That's why you've always got to have that aluminium foil, even if it's on your boat or on the shore.
That's right.
It's very, very handy for many things. Not just fuses, also for cooking your fish.
Yeah, just wrap it a few more times.
That's it. I think we agree on the same food there. Good stuff, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.